Hello everyone! Welcome to my tutorial on how to paint a cardinal using watercolors. For a list of everything you need to get started, be sure to check out the video description below. So we're going to start out by sketching out the head of the cardinal. This is a very simple cardinal painting, easy for beginners, and I'll show you exactly how to draw it out. So first things first, you want to do a triangle for the beak. And the triangle should be slightly curved. No harsh lines, with the line where the center would be. Then we're going to have it taper around, just like that. Then we're going to have where the feathers would go up to represent the head. And I'm just going to loosely come back down and this will be the basic shape we want to have. So we're not adding too much detail for today. I actually want that to come up a little bit more, and it's not going to matter perfectly because we're going to go a little bit crazy with the splatters here, but I'm going to draw, so just up from where the line of the beak goes is where the eye would start. So we're going to just draw a circle shape to represent the eye, and you can block off where the little eye sparkle will go, where you're going to leave it white, and then we're going to mark off where the black will go as well, because cardinals often have black right around their face leading into their chest. So you're wanting to have a very basic shape, and this I'm just reinforcing where I want that poofy part to go, and then where the chest goes. All right, so first things first, we're gonna just do the beak here. And it's nice to move from left to right with watercolors because you don't wanna have your hand going through it. So starting with the beak is a great place to start. I noticed reference photo I'm using, this cardinal has a red beak with some hints of orange and pinks. So we're gonna do that for this one as well. So we're going to fill in the whole beak with clear water. And then I'm going to take a little bit of red and just drop it in along the bottom. Now these beaks are fairly light, so we're only going to darken certain parts of it on the second layer. For the first layer, we're actually wanting it to be fairly light. So I'm going to take actually a hint of yellow and just drop in a hint of yellow right here. And then some orange as well. Have a little bit of variation there. So we're wanting to let that dry. Watercolor does dry quite a bit lighter. So as it dries, you'll notice it lightens up, and then we can go back in and add a little bit more detail. So next up, we're going to use, I have right here, a medium-sized round. This is a Princeton size 10 round brush. And I like this brush for adding down quite a bit of water because it holds quite a bit of water. So we're gonna add some like explosions of red for this part. So basically what I do is I take a glob of red, put it on the paper here, and I'm gonna blow really quick on it so that it explodes. And that one exploded a lot more than I expected, but that's totally okay. We're gonna just lighten up some of it. We're gonna let it do its thing. So we're gonna move on and do another one. It's gonna seem a little bit crazy right now, but that's okay. So then what I do is I take the red and I help rein in a little bit of the craziness. But now I'm using the tip of the brush to just add some texture. So we're going to use clear water in and around the eye here. And then I drop in the red and let it bleed out. We're leaving the black because that is easy to add. If there's areas where you have quite a bit of water still, you can always do more explosions. So I'm going to add some swipes of the brush. We're keeping this extremely loose. And I'm going to swipe in some red or some pink. We're going to go in and then add red. So you can go down as far as you want. I think mine's going to end right about here. And I'm just going to keep swiping around with the brush, using the tip to add some feather strokes and darkening it as I go. Not leaving a bunch of white spots. There's a lot right now, but as I go around, I will get rid of those. Basically, just make your way around. I'm going to take a hint of green and just swipe that in here and around here. Now I'm going to go in with some orange. I'm just layering and layering as it's drying. And there is such a thing as overworking it, so we're going to be mindful of that. But I don't think I'm at risk of that yet, just because of how much it lightens as it dries. This guy's having a bit of a bad hair day. All right, so we're gonna let that dry a little bit so we can see how light it is, and we're gonna go in and add a bit more detail on the beak. Just taking the tip of my angled brush, I'm gonna go in and add a bit more red along the bottom. And that's because the bottom of the beak is actually darker than the top. And then I'm going to add a little bit of definition on the top, but not within the beak, using this red. And then I'm gonna take a bit of pink on the tip of the brush. And I'm just gonna swipe in some lines. Because we're still wanting it to be quite a bit darker, or on the bottom, but not jarringly so. All right, so now we can keep going around in the body because I'm noticing it's lightening quite a bit. And it's okay to have some of those strokes that are sort of dry like that. I like a bit of that. How I get those strokes to happen is I basically just add varying pressure on the brush and I allow it to just dry up and keep going using the side of the brush. All right, and so the eye of the cardinal is what we'll do next. So I'm going to actually paint it in with some Prussian blue. And that's all we're going to do for now on the eye. And then I'm going to take a nice flat brush or any larger brush that you have around, and I'm actually going to add some red splatters. We're going to do some that sort of feather out to further exaggerate the crazy hair day this cardinal's having. Have fun with those splatters. I'm going to actually spin the painting around and have some of them going forward. Just like that. And I'll add a few pink ones in. You over here. If you add some clear ones, the water will actually bleed a little bit and you'll get some variation. All right, so that's all I'm gonna do for this layer. I'm gonna let this dry and then I'll come back and show you what to do next. All right, so the painting isn't completely dry, but this is a great time to go in and add the black. As long as it's dry where it needs to be, which is around the face, then that's great. For this, I'm not adding clear water first, so you can just go in and color in all of the black parts. And they're going to lighten as they dry, so don't be afraid to get nice and dark with it. I'm just using the tip of a dagger brush, but if you have a fine liner brush as well, that works. So just fill it in. And I will go in and darken the eye, and that's where I'll fill in some of that white. We're not going to leave that in, just like that. I'm having a bit of fun with the black, adding a few feather strokes. And then I actually want to get rid of some of that black. And then I'm going to drag some of that black back. So using a dry brush, I'm just going to blend that in a little bit. And I'm just using the dry brush technique. So just adding a few more detail. If you have a reference photo that you're using, just wherever you see the black, this is the time to fill that all in. And then I'm going to take some red and just add a few more swipes of red. And it picked up a bit of black, and I like that. I'm going to spin it around as I go. Just going to cover up a few of those pencil lines that I don't want to see. You can also erase them at the end. And then this is where I do the last step, which is just adding in some of those details. So I'm going to use a black line to separate beak. And then I'm going to redefine some of this spot here. Go in with the eye, and now the eye, I don't want a thick white line all around it. That's just how I left it because I didn't want to mess up my line. So I'm actually going to just stagger that white line and have it go in some spots, and some spots I'm going to fill in so that it's almost all filled in. And if I don't like how much I did, I can always go back and add it with some white paint after, but I'm going to go in and add a few just small details. Some red along here. Have my black come up a little bit. This is the time to just play around until you get the right amount of detail. This is a fairly loose painting, so that's the fun part, is if you add a bit of detail, it's just that contrast between quite a bit of detail with quite loose brush strokes. All right. And the Cardinal does have a little bit of black back here. Take some pink and just bleed that in a little bit. It's not such a strong line. And then a little bit more red here. And almost done. All right, So now we're going to go ahead and sign it. And it's all done. Thank you so much for watching with me. If you want to catch other videos just like this one, be sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed painting along with me. Thank you so much for watching.